right, welcome back. We just wrapped up talking about threat findings, and now we are going to talk about Exaforce detection. So, some of the things that actually we talked about in threat findings were related to Exaforce detections, and essentially things that were found inside the environment where Exaforce triggered the detection, and it was severe enough that it actually got bubbled up into a threat finding and something that we want to notify the users about. However, I will say Exaforce detections, everything in here is anomalous, but not everything in here is malicious and something that needs investigated. So, what I mean by that, as we come inside of here and we start looking at the different items inside of here, everything in here has been ran across essentially our behavioral models. So as we're ingesting all of that data, CloudTrail, Okta sign-in logs, Azure AD sign-in logs, kind of whatever, is that we're looking at IP addresses, usernames, EC2 instances, role usage. So all those different things inside of the environment and really creating that concept of normal. And with that, now that since we have essentially a concept of like, hey, here's what's normal for the environment, and what we see inside of there is that now we also can trigger deviations from normal. And some also kind of baseline of more static type of rules as well. So as we start to look at these, and we go take a look, some of these are, info level, and we're just looking at straight like, hey, service account bucket volume anomaly on S3 read operation. So we're starting to see a deviation away. This isn't normal like what we see inside of here. However, after the exabots get a hold of it and they take a look at it and they assess it against our behavioral models, looking at the different configs and things inside of the environment, it's able to say, hey, you know what, this doesn't really kind of get bubbled up above the severity that we're seeing inside of here. No need to go trigger a threat finding off of this. But they are fantastic things and kind of threads to pull on inside of here. So for example, maybe I own the AWS environment and overall just kind of risk posture inside of there. And if I just come inside of here and go click on AWS, now we're going to go filter down on only things where the data that came inside of the environment was from AWS. However, Exaforce triggered the finding. If we go open up a couple of these, we could see user Merrick performed anomalous EC2 operation. So we go open this up. And just like you saw inside of the threat findings, you're going to get an assessment of everything inside of here. At what account we saw this happen inside of, and then basically a full conclusion. Essentially taking a look at this one, the user logged in from a normal location, used SSO and their device just like they normally do. The actions that we saw being done inside of here, it says that these were outside of the baseline. However, it's well within their permissions, and it's kind of things that we're seeing being done by this within the realm of what this user would be doing for what their role is inside of the environment. However, we'll go ahead and break things down more on the principal location, everything a bit more, and then essentially, hey, next steps, and then if you even wanted to trigger a workflow. One thing that you can do inside of here is as you start to assess this, maybe you jump into the investigate tab and you go take a look at these details a bit further. There might be some additional questions that you jump over into the command center inside of here and say, hey, Exaforce, tell me, maybe where this user normally acts from. Show me, what else do we know about this IP address? Whatever questions that we want to ask inside of the Exabot Q&A inside of here actually gives us some suggestions. What other AWS accounts is this user from the same IP in the last 30 days, for example? What other people in the engineering department do these type of things? Based off of the feedback, I could then now come inside of here under the Exabout assessment, and I could say, hey, I want you to go reanalyze this. I want you to go take a look at this, and we can also feed this as well and say, you know what, actually this is a high. We don't agree with you. We think this is actually a bit higher priority inside of here. Go reanalyze this. I want to promote this to a threat finding. So the things that are inside of here, you can continue to interact with them as well and end up bubbling up there if, human in loop or human intervention takes a look at these and wants to provide that feedback. So that's one of the ways that you can leverage, this page inside of here is just kind of go look at all of the deviations and all the different anomalies we're seeing. And another thing that I really like to do is I'll scroll down here a little bit is we have these sub tabs. And these are really helpful to just kind of give you some, once again, threads to pull on inside of there. So for example, if I come into the MITRE tab, what this is going to do, it's going to map all the different things that we saw and kind of put them on a MITRE technique and tactic map inside of here. So one of the things I could go take a look at is, oh, obviously by severity, account manipulation. We see some highs inside of here. But like I see one create account event inside of here. So this could be interesting. So all I have to do is come over here and click on it. It creates a cross filter on the filter bar up here. And we can see that Jacob actually had an IP anomaly and an operation anomaly during the Zscaler integration. And as I go open this, now I can go take a look at what was the exact event inside of here. So basically went and created this Zscaler user test account, applying the policies, creating S3 buckets. So basically all of the information inside of here, and then overall, what was the assessment saying, hey, this looks like a normal ISP change, IP from a location that he normally logs in from. The user that he created aligns well within what you guys are doing right now, maybe deploying Zscaler and then doing some testing inside of there. Hey, this is essentially, we're saying false positive. Don't bubble this up to a threat finding. But a really kind of neat way that you can interact with the MITRE map down here and say, hey, go filter down on some of these. Additionally, as well, we have finding stats, and this is going to be things like, hey, I want to look at things that are maybe insider threat related versus external threats. And go kind of do that filtering inside of here. And then also the threat types. Are we looking at collection techniques, discovery techniques inside of here, initial access? And I could very easily just come click on one of these, initial access Okta, for example, include that filter. It's going to apply the filter to the top, and then all of this narrows down. So that's another kind of unique way that you can interact with it. And then just some of the basic things as well. I want to go do an analysis kind of based off of signals. And this one's actually pretty cool because one of the things I could do inside of here is off of the signals themselves. Is one of the things I would like to do is kind of sort by ascending. And the reason I sort by ascending is I like looking for rare things inside of the environment. So for example, high rate of events detected, access from an IP in GitHub that are actually from known threats. This could be interesting. So I could come over here, add this as a filter, and what same thing is that we've been doing the rest of it. It's going to go filter down on all of those items inside of here. So that's kind of what you can expect to see inside of the Exaforce detections and how you could use this one. And in the next video, we are going to discuss business context rules. Thank you.